Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to write a if-else-if condition in C++, and the example I'm going to use is the user will enter a score and the program will show the user what grade he received. So the score has to be between 0 and 100 and the letter grade will be A through F, and A will be anything above 90, B will be between 80 and 90, and so on. So the first thing, I declare a variable called score. I prompt the user to enter his or her score. Then I read in that value into the variable score. And now the first thing I want to do is that a valid range that was entered? So it has to be between the range 0 and 100. So this I can define with two conditions and the logical AND operator. So first of all, I'm going to check a single condition. Is the score larger or equal to 0? And now I use a logical AND operator to also check if the score is less than or equal to 100. So essentially I'm saying the score has to be larger or equal to 0 and it has to be less than or equal to 100. And since it's an AND operator, both of these conditions have to be true. Now I know when I enter the block here and I'm executing statements in this block, the score will always be between 0 and 100, because otherwise I would have never entered this block. So the first thing in this block that I want to do is check if the score is larger or equal to 90. Note that I don't need to check if it's less than 100 anymore, because I already checked it before. So if it is above 90 here, I know it has to be less than or equal to 100. And then if this is the case, I output grade A. Now I add a else. I use the else keyword and I add another if condition. If score is larger or equal 80. So what this will do is, if this is true, it will output grade A. It doesn't do any of the else if conditions that I have here and that I'm going to add. It will only execute the statements here and then continue at the very end. Now, if this is false, it will go to the else, and since this else block has another if condition, it will then validate this condition. If this is true, it will execute the then block here. Otherwise, it will continue. So if it is larger or equal to 80, I will output grade B. And then I do the same again. Else, if score is larger or equal to 70. Now, this condition also, I'm only going to check if all the previous conditions were false. And if it is above 70, I'm going to execute this statement and I'll output grade C. Then I'm going to add another one of these conditions, score larger or equal 60. If this is the case, I will output grade D. And if it's not above 60, I know it has to be between 0 and 100. So the only remaining value will be between 0 and 60. So I don't have to add any more conditions. I'm just going to output grade F here. So whenever we have an else and else if block, like in this case, we know that only a single one of these can be true. So I can never execute this statements here, like output grade A and output grade B, because everything has an else before, and else depends on the previous condition to be false. Now if I were to remove this else, let's say I have this, what would this be? This is essentially a sequence of alone if conditions. So this checks, is it above 90? It would output grade A. Now it checks if it's above 80. Now if we had 95, for example, it would output this. It would check this condition here. 95 is also above 80, so it would output grade B2. 95 is also above 70, so it would output grade C. And here, if 95 is above 60, it would output grade D. It wouldn't output grade F, since this is an else and this depends on the previous condition. So there's a difference if we use just ifs, a sequence of if conditions, or if we actually add the keyword else here. This else always makes it dependent on the previous statement. So this is what we want in this case. We only want one of them to be true. And then at the very end, I output program ended. So that way we know we are done. So let's enter a value 110. So we see program ended. I get this message here too. But what this tells us, it went here. So this condition was false. It never entered the block here. This is the block with all our statements. So it skipped this and it continued down here. If we had additional statements, it would just continue executing these statements. Now if I enter a valid score, let's say 92, we get grade A. So 92, it checked this condition. 92 is between 0 and 100. It entered the block. There inside the block is a first condition that checks, is 92 larger than 90? This is true. It will execute this statement and output grade A. And then everything is else, so we don't do anything here, and we continue at the bottom. Program ended. Let's try another run, and let's say we enter 74. So 74 again is between 0 and 100. Now we check, is it above 90? No. Is it above 80? No. Is it above 74? Yes. So we enter this block, we output grade C, and then the other ones are else, so we don't do anything, and we continue down here. I hope this gives you an idea how to write a if-else condition, and also you can see we can nest them arbitrarily. Anywhere where we can write statements, we can write if conditions. So thank you for watching.